Do you want to make 10 unarmed strikes in a single turn without casting a single spell by playing as Gohan from Dragonball Z and Dragonball Super as a playable character in Dungeons & Dragons? Well, in this video, we're going to figure out how to do that. First things first, we gotta start with the species, and for every single Saiyan I've built from the DBZ universe, I always go with an Aasimar, and that's what I'm gonna stick with. Becoming an Aasimar gives you Light Bearer, so you can cast the Light cantrip. You have Healing Hands, so you have a pool of D4s to heal yourself or somebody else if you need to. You have Celestial Resistance, so you have resistance to necrotic and radiant damage. And most importantly, you get Celestial Revelation. This is basically how you become a Super Saiyan, because when you reach 3rd level of being an Aasimar, you can use your bonus action to transform. The transformation lasts for 1 minute, and once on each of your turns while you're transformed, you can deal extra damage equal to your proficiency bonus. This used to be even stronger with older versions of D&D, but frankly, it was a little overpowered. But also, when you transform, you can choose a type of transformation. You can get Heavenly Wings, so you can get a flying speed equal to your walking speed, which is going to be pretty helpful early on until we figure out a different way to fly. Then the other options are Necrotic Shroud to force fear from your enemies, or Inner Radiance, which feels a little more Super Saiyan-esque, because Inner Radiance causes searing light to radiate from you, just like a Super Saiyan. And at the end of each of your turns, you can deal radiant damage equal to your proficiency bonus to every creature within 10 feet of you. Then when it comes to a background, we're just going to go with Guard, because you're kind of a guardian of Earth. You're one of the Z fighters. This gives us skill proficiencies in athletics and perception, and thanks to 2024 updates, it gives us the alert feat, which makes it so when you roll initiative, you can add your proficiency bonus to your initiative roll, and it gives you initiative swap. So immediately after you roll initiative, you can actually trade your initiative with one ally. Then when it comes to a starting class, we obviously are trying to do as many punches as possible, and a great way to do this pretty early on is by going with a monk. Starting off in monk, we get proficiency with 2 skills, so we're going to grab insight and acrobatics, and we get martial arts, which gives us a whole bunch of benefits, like you can make an unarmed strike as a bonus action for free every single turn, meaning right at level 1, you have 2 unarmed strikes, and those unarmed strikes do a bit more damage because you can use martial arts die, starting off at a D6 worth of damage and upgrading as you level up in monk. And on top of that, you have the feature dexterous attacks, so your unarmed strikes use your dexterity modifier instead of your strength modifier. And when you use the grapple or shove options for your unarmed strike, you can use the dexterity modifier instead of the strength modifier. You do have access to simple melee weapons and martial weapons that have the light property. Now, you do have that big old sword, which unfortunately would not work for this feature, but we can just pretend the sword is a little lighter and go with a short sword instead of what is obviously a long sword, because either way, you can use your martial arts die in place of whatever the basic damage die for the weapon is. Also at level 1 of monk, you get unarmored defense, so your armor class equals 10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your wisdom modifier. And then at 2nd level of monk, you get access to focus points. This replaced ki from older versions of D&D. You have a number of focus points equal to your level in monk, and you can use them on things like Flurry of Blows. So you can spend 1 focus point to make 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action instead of just 1, meaning that at level 2 you have 3 unarmed strikes right away. Or you can use Patient Defense, so you can take the disengage action as a bonus action, or you can spend 1 focus point to get the disengage and dodge action as a bonus action, or you get Step of the Wind. So you can take the dash action as a bonus action, or you can spend 1 focus point to take both the disengage and dash action as a bonus action, and your jump distance is doubled for the turn. Also at 2nd level, you get unarmored movement, so your speed is boosted by 10 feet as long as you're not wearing any armor. Also at 2nd level, you get uncanny metabolism, and that's pretty key for any Saiyan who has an insane amount of eating power from the Dragon Ball universe. But this D&D feature specifically from being a monk makes it so that way when you roll initiative, you can regain all of your focus points. And when you do so, you get to roll a martial arts die and regain a number of hit points equal to your monk level plus the number rolled. Basically like every fight in Dragon Ball, where it seems like somebody's pretty much lost, but then all of a sudden they get a surge of energy and are able to fight back. You can only use this feature once per long rest. Then at 3rd level of monk, you get deflect attacks, so any damage that has some bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage included, you can take a reaction to reduce the attack's damage against you. reducing it by 1d10 plus your dexterity modifier and your monk level. If you reduce it all the way to 0, you can spend a focus point to change that attack's direction and make it target somebody else. Also at 3rd level of monk, you get a monk subclass. And a lot of other Saiyans or Dragon Ball focused characters have done in the past, it's been a little easier to go with a Sun Soul monk. And those are basically just straight up Super Saiyans. They even get the ability to do a Spirit Bomb and get a Super Saiyan form and all that stuff, but I don't want to go that route because there's some other options that we get some other unique benefits. So I'm going to go with the new Warrior of the Elements. The Warrior of the Elements monk in 2024 edition of D&D gives you the feature Elemental Attunement right away. So when you make an unarmed strike, your reach is increased by 10 feet as elemental energy extends from you. And you can play this off as doing different ki blasts because it's essentially a ranged attack of elemental damage. Because this also grants you elemental strikes. So when you hit with an unarmed strike, the damage you deal can be acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage. And at the same time, when you hit with any sort of elemental damage like this, you can force the target to make a strength save. And if they fail, you can force the creature 10 feet further away from you or bring them 10 feet closer to you. Also, this version of the subclass gives you manipulate elements, so you get the elementalism spell, which doesn't really do much for attacks, but it can definitely add to the vibe by causing a strong breeze, move around some dust or sand, beckon some fire, beckon some water, sculpt whatever element you want. It's kind of a weird little, I kind of tinker with the elements kind of cantrip. It's not all that useful unless you're just trying to set the mood. Then at 4th level of monk, you get an ability score improvement. And these are our starting ability scores, which might seem a little weird for a monk, but it'll make sense a little later. Then we're going to actually put 2 more points into our strength, which will again make sense in just a second. Then also at 4th level of monk, you get slow fall, so you can reduce your fall damage. And then at 5th level of monk, we get extra attack. So now you can attack twice per attack action. And your martial arts die increases to a D8 of damage. Then I need to grab something because we need to go full-blown Super Saiyan and we need to make use of some other features as quickly as possible. Otherwise, having so much strength isn't going to make sense. So one of the things about becoming a Super Saiyan is some intense Super Saiyan rage. So we're going to jump over to Barbarian for just a second. By taking 1 level in Barbarian, we get access to Rage. So as a bonus action, you can activate a Rage, giving you damage resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. You get Rage damage, so when you make an attack using Strength with either a weapon or an unarmed strike, you can do some additional bonus damage. It's only going to be a +2, but a +2 in damage is pretty massive in D&D, especially with the amount of punches we're going to be able to do by the end of this build. Rage also gives you advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. Only downside is that you can't really do any spell casting when you're enraged. Then also at 1st level of Barbarian, you get unarmored defense. And this is slightly different than the unarmored defense from being a monk, because instead of relying on dexterity and wisdom, it relies on dexterity and constitution. And while our constitution modifier is basically the same as our wisdom modifier, it's good to have this option in our back pocket because then we can focus on constitution going forward, which will really help our health, while at the same time boosting our armor class. So with 1 level of Barbarian, we're able to really amp up becoming a Super Saiyan with the Super Saiyan Rage. We get a bit more damage from that Rage damage bonus, and we have a different option for unarmored defense, even if it doesn't make that much of a difference right now. But I just wanted to make sure I boosted up that damage really quick. Now we're going to jump back over to Monk, because at 6th level of Monk, you get Elemental Burst, so you have a much bigger ki blast to be able to use. Because Elemental Burst, from being a warrior of the elements, gives you the option to do a magic action. And I should note that this actually doesn't conflict with Rage, because Rage specifically says you can't maintain concentration or cast spells. Doesn't say that you can't take a magic action. And Elemental Burst allows you to use a magic action to expend 2 focus points to cause an Elemental Burst of a 20-foot radius sphere within 120 feet of you, dealing acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage, forcing every creature in that sphere to make a dexterity saving throw, and dealing 3 rolls of your martial arts die if they fail, or half as much on a success. Also at 6th level of Monk, you get a boost to your unarmored movement, so your movement speed is boosted by 15 feet instead of 10 feet now. And you also get one other feature called Empowered Strikes. So when you make an unarmed strike, I know you have all those options for elemental damage, but now you can also deal force damage if you want to. 7th level of Monk gives us evasion, so when you make a dexterity saving throw to avoid taking damage, you automatically take half damage, and if you still succeed on the saving throw, you take 0 damage instead. 8th level of Monk gives us another ability score improvement, so we're going to go ahead and throw 2 more points into strength, maxing it out. Then at 9th level of Monk, you get acrobatic movement, so you can actually run across vertical surfaces and across liquids without falling during your movement. And then at 10th level of Monk, you get access to heightened focus. So all the basic stuff you would spend your focus points on get boosted in some way. Like Patient Defense allows you to gain some temporary hit points equal to 2 rolls of your martial arts die when you use it. Step of the Wind now allows you to grab somebody and bring them along with you to help protect them. But Flurry of Blows is where it really shines, because Flurry of Blows now allows you to make 3 unarmed strikes as a bonus action instead of just 2. So now you get 5 unarmed strikes with 2 as your main action and 3 as your bonus action. You can add your rage damage bonus to every single one of them. And then also at 10th level of Monk, you get self-restoration, so you can remove the charmed, frightened, or poisoned condition from yourself, and not have anything to eat or drink doesn't give you a level of exhaustion. Then the last thing at 10th level of Monk is that our unarmored movement is boosted to 20 feet, so our total movement speed right now is 50 feet. And then at 11th level of Monk, our martial arts die upgrades to a D10 of damage. And we get one more feature from Warrior of the Elements, called Stride of the Elements. So when your elemental attunement is active, you also have a fly speed and swim speed equal to your normal speed. So now you can fly 50 feet. So you can activate your elemental attunement, which lasts for 10 minutes, giving you basically ki blasts. Then you can do your transformation from being an Aasimar and focus more on the inner radiance, glowing and dealing damage to everything around you, and boosting up the damage from one of your attacks. And you don't have to worry about using that transformation for your heavenly wings to give you a flying speed, because you get that anyways. Then instead of going to 12th level in Monk, which would give us an ability score improvement, I'm going to save that for a bit, because we're going to go ahead and do another multi-class, but instead of going back over to Barbarian, we're going to jump over to Fighter. And we're actually going with the older version of Fighter, because there's an important type of fighter that we need to go with, which wasn't really accepted into the 2024 version of Fighter, which will be very important very soon. Multiclassing into Fighter gives us a fighting style right away, and basically nothing will help us with how many levels we have in Monk, and we can't use most weapons or armor, and we already have more than enough damage with our unarmed strikes. So in order to sense things around you with your general perception and ki, we're going to grab blind fighting. So you have blind sight within a range of 10 feet. So you can see anything that's not behind total cover, even if you're blinded or in complete darkness. And you can even see invisible creatures that are within range. Also at first level of Fighter, you get Second Wind, so you can use a bonus action to regain hit points equal to 1d10 plus your fighter level. But in this older version of Fighter, you can only use this once per short or long rest. Then at second level of Fighter, you get Action Surge, meaning that you can take an entire extra action on your turn, meaning that you can now do 2 attacks as your main action, 2 attacks as your Action Surge action, and then 3 attacks as your bonus action with the upgraded Flurry of Blows, making more of a Fist of Fury style build, because you're already at 7 attacks, and you can still add that rage damage bonus to every single one of them. Then at third level of Fighter, you get a Martial Archetype, otherwise known as a Fighter subclass. And the reason that we went with the older version of Fighter is that I want to go with an Echo Knight, and these weren't ported over to the updated version of Fighter. But Echo Knight gives us Manifest Echo. And this is a bit more of like teleporting around the battlefield, like how every single fight in the Dragon Ball universe happens. So you can manifest an Echo, which is almost like a spectral version of yourself. And as a bonus action, you can magically teleport, swapping places with your Echo. When you attack, you can attack from either your position or your Echo's position, because this Echo can be anywhere within 30 feet of you, and that's just letting in a barrage of punches that can come from all sides. And even when you make opportunity attacks, you can make those opportunity attacks either from your own position or from your Echo's position, giving you a lot more strategy in how you position yourself on the battlefield. But most importantly, you get the feature Unleash Incarnation at third level. So when you take the attack action, you can make 1 additional melee attack from your Echo's position. And you can do this a number of times equal to your Constitution modifier. So now you can make 2 attacks with your main action, 1 more attack from your Echo's position, and then use Action Surge to make 2 more attacks, and then 1 more from Unleash Incarnation again, bringing you to 6 attacks, and then as your bonus action, you can make 3 more attacks, bringing you to 9 attacks, with a crazy barrage of punches, all utilizing your strength modifier so you can boost it up with your rage damage bonus. Then at 4th level of fighter, you get an ability score improvement. So we're going to boost up our Constitution by 2 points. This helps with both our Echo Knight stuff and our armor class, thanks to our unarmored defense from being a Barbarian. Then it's time to swap classes again, because we're going to jump back over to Barbarian. 2nd level of Barbarian gives us Danger Sense, so you have advantage on dexterity saving throws, and considering you have evasion, that's even more powerful. Also at 2nd level of Barbarian, you get Reckless Attack. So with all of those insane amount of punches that you have access to, you can now have advantage on all of them. The only downside to using this is that it also gives advantage on attacks against you. Then at 3rd level of Barbarian, you get to choose a Barbarian subclass. And this is really all about what happens when you go into a rage. And in the Dragon Ball Super Heroes movie, Gohan achieves a new form that is extremely powerful. And it's commonly referred to as Beast Gohan. So we're going to go with Barbarian Path of the Beast, and this will give us Form of the Beast. So when you go into a rage, your mouth transforms and you can bite somebody, which would allow you to regain some hit points equal to your proficiency bonus, as long as you're at least at half health or lower. You can also grow a tail, which actually kind of fits with being a Saiyan, but this is more of a spiny tail, and it can deal 1d8 piercing damage, or you can use your reaction to roll a d8 and apply that to your armor class. But what we really care about is the fact that it can also give you claws. So you can actually deal 1d6 damage with your claws, but your unarmed strikes already deal more than that. And once on each of your turns, when you attack with their claws, you can do 1 additional attack as part of this same action. Meaning that with your Echo active and your Form of the Beast active, you can have 2 basic attacks as your normal extra attack stuff. You get 1 more attack from your Unleash Incarnation and 1 more attack on top of that with your claws from Form of the Beast. You can use Action Surge for 2 more attacks as the normal extra attack stuff, and then 1 more attack from your Unleash Incarnation, and then you can use Flurry of Blows for 3 more attacks on top of all of that, bringing you to 10 total unarmed strikes. Every one of those is going to get a +2 from the rage damage bonus, bringing you to the potential of 187 points of damage in a single round of combat, all from punching. Then at 4th level of Barbarian, you get an ability score improvement. So we're going to go ahead and boost up our Constitution by 2 more points, helping our health, our Echo Knight stuff, and our armor class. Then we're going to take 1 more level in Monk, just because we were right there about to get another ability score improvement. And frankly, you could swap out these levels at any random point to take them however you'd like, but I just wanted to save it for this order because I liked it this way. But taking 1 more ability score improvement at this level brings you all the way to 20th level, and technically you could have taken an epic boon last level with how we ordered everything, but I don't need an insane amount of them. We're already doing a crazy amount of attacks and I don't want to make it too overpowered, so we're just going to take 1 epic boon here with the boon of dimensional travel as you teleport all around the battlefield like every single fight in Dragon Ball. Because the boon of dimensional travel gives you blink steps, so immediately after you take the attack action or a magic action, you can teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space you can see. Don't forget that you can take 2 attack actions with your Action Surge, so you can actually do this twice. This also allows you to boost up 1 ability score by 1 point, so we're going to go ahead and max out that Constitution, boosting up our armor class, our Echo Knight, and our health 1 more time. And that's how I build Gohan from Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super as a playable character in Dungeons & Dragons. If you want access to a character sheet for this build or any of my other builds, feel free to check out my Patreon, linked in the description down below. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, let me know by hitting that like button, and I'll be here helping you roll at least 3 nat 20s in your next D&D session. And just for the hell of it, throw your favorite Dragon Ball character in the comments, because I'm always curious who everybody's favorite is, especially if it just so happens to be Gohan and you want to play him as a playable character in Dungeons & Dragons.